Well, I sorta kinda made up points last week at Kansas. We got Kyle Larson once again winning in the round of 8. He has 3 consecutive race wins in the bag. And before we get into our picks for this week at Martinsville, Andrew, gonna recap the week of Kansas.
Yeah, let's do that. So, for Kansas, we had, I would say, an up and down day for the playoff drivers. The Hendrick Motorsports guys, they definitely showed out. A lot of playoff guys had some troubles, such as Ryan Blaney, Martin Truex Jr., Radkazowski.
Kyle Busch as well, he also had issues.
But the one that definitely hurt the most, I guess, is also, the Kyle Busch one, but Blaney, just getting loose there, and Austin Dillon getting into him, just took him out of the running for the win or for getting a good finish, because he was running 9th or 8th somewhere, so that was a good finish, as, Kansas has not historically been a good track for him. But yeah, that definitely hurt his chances, somewhat hurt his chances in the playoffs, but he still is only out by 1.
So now we're going to recap some of our lineups here. The main thing about all of my lineups is I kind of hashed up the garage pick. I left Radkazowski out of my lineup and put him in the garage. I should have put in him over Kyle Busch. I left Kyle Busch in. I think the one big mistake I made is while I was making the garage picks here, I didn't put into account that Kyle Busch was a few extra laps down compared to Keselowski. I just went off of, okay, Kyle Busch had 2 stage points, we'll take that, assume Keselowski has issues, and then if both drivers have equal issues, then Kyle Busch edges out Keselowski a little bit just because of the stage points. But turns out Keselowski was able to make up far more spots than Kyle Busch can compare to, even with the stage points. So I completely hashed the garage picks this week. Should have kept in Keselowski and garage Kyle Busch.
Yeah, I made that mistake in my no Chevy lineup, so I'm out of Kyle Busch plays, but no fear, we'll usually figure out a way with only 2 races left. But yeah, for me, I did the opposite and mostly garage Kyle Busch in all my leagues, so I'm down to either 1 or 2 with him.
And then recapping my bonus picks, we got most of my lineups with a lot of bonus picks are going to need it to make up for the points that Keselowski and Kyle Busch lost me, as well as the ones that started Tyler Reddick. We got just about all of my lineups that had Kyle Larson, Chevrolet, and Hendrick Motorsports. They'd get a good 40 burger. I believe 1 or 2 of them also got the top Ford and top Toyota picks right, those being Harvick for top Ford, Denny Hamlin top Toyota.
Yeah, for me on those 2, I crushed it for top Chevrolet in the race winner with Kyle Larson, and pretty much all my lineups. Just top Ford. I split it with Radkazowski and Kevin Harvick, so half of it went well, and then the other half did not. And top Toyota, I just went all in for Kyle Busch, and that didn't work out. But hey, it's only 5 points, and I really didn't need it. I crushed it with the Kyle Larson winning and top Toyota.
That being said, Kansas, just like the week before at Texas, made for a rather high-scoring week. And looking at our top 8 drivers with the most points, all 4 Hendrick cars makes the top 8 in this group. Even Alex Bowman got himself a good 34 points over there in 7th.
The Fords really just, they didn't really come out in the late stages. I mean, the early stages, they really showed their strength, but yeah, with Radkazowski having issues, Ryan Blaney DNFing, and then I think Logano had an issue, but he rallied back to a 9th place finish. But yeah, Kansas was not a track for the Fords unless you're Kevin Harvick.
Right, indeed. Maybe they can have better luck next week at Martinsville. Team Penske very much likes this track. We're going to look at our tier list here. Andrew, for this week, we're going to be covering 2 top plays. I'm going to lead you off here with your pick for the top plays.
So for our first top play out of the 2, we are going to go with Joey Logano. He's averaged 10 stage points here at Martinsville Speedway. Been 6th fastest on 1 mile or less short tracks, and really he's been the 4th fastest at these 750 tracks. So he's been really good at these tracks. Finished 9 out of the 11 750 tracks in the top 10, and just coming off of these bad streaks of 550, they have not been a friend to him this season. I think this is really the race that he's really circled on his calendar for the round of 8 to try and win this race, because he's pretty much in a must-win situation. He's around like 26-ish points out of the playoffs, so he definitely needs a win. I mean, stage points are possible, but it's most likely he's going to need to win this race. And so be a little bit cautious about your outlook on Joey Logano. I know, like I said, he averages 10 stage points. He might not go for them and set himself up for the race win of this Xfinity 500.
Yeah, one thing that really intrigues me about playing Joey Logano this week at Martinsville is the fact that he is in a must-win situation. But for a track like Martinsville, you're not going to be doing pitch strategy or punting track position. Matter of fact, it's going to be more advantageous to stay up front all day long at Martinsville because A, you're not going to be stuck in traffic where accidents can very much occur in accordion-like fashion. So not only that, I see Joey Logano going for maximum points as a way to stay up front to get that win that he needs to get to the championship for. I feel there's not going to be any chance of Logano to miss out on points, even if he's in a must-win situation and points aren't going to mean much to him this week. That's Joey Logano for you folks. I'm going to be covering another top play driver for here. It's going to be Denny Hamlin. He's on the flip side of the playoff cut line compared to Joey Logano. And compared to the 22 car, Hamlin is probably not going to be earning as much points as, say, Logano, just because he's 30 plus points above the cut line. And just like Chase Elliott, Denny Hamlin just needs a solid day. He can't have a outside the top 20 day. Just something like a 15th place finish. But never mind his playoff situation. Martinsville's always been a great track for Denny Hamlin. He's won races here in the past. I forgot to play Denny Hamlin here in the spring race, and hopefully this is the second time go around. I gotta have Hamlin in my lineup for Martinsville, regardless.
Having Hamlin not having Hamlin in your fantasy lineup is kind of a mistake. I know the 2020 races weren't friendly for him, but if you take out those two races, he's finished in the top 15 at Martinsville. And the last race, I know it says he finished third, but he was definitely competing for that win. He led 276 laps. It just at the end, Martin Truex Jr. got him, but I think it might be a battle between Hamlin, Martin Truex Jr., and Chase Elliott once again. But let's move on to the blind spot play, where I will cover another JGR car and Christopher Bell. He's been the 8th fastest on these 750 tracks, 4th fastest in 1 mile or less. Spoiler, I mean, top 4 are basically Joe Gibbs racing cars. Top 4 fastest cars in 1 mile or less are JGR cars. He's finished 6 races in the top 10 out of the 11 in 750 tracks, and he might not get you the stage points. He averages around like 4.12 stage points on these 750 on these short ovals of 1 mile or less, so like Phoenix, Richmond, New Hampshire, Bristol, and Martinsville. But he's gonna finish well. Like in these past weeks, if you really watch the races, he's come on strong at the end and just stolen a good finish at the end. Like 3rd place at Texas, no one predicted that. And then a 7th place at Kansas. I don't think he was running as well at Kansas. Yeah, no stage points. He got home in 8th place. So I really like Christopher Bell as a garage play, and if you're really needing to save in these last 2 races, hopefully not, then consider Bell as a good play to use or to garage.
Right, I do like the opportunity Christopher Bell brings for this week at Martinsville. He could be a good play saver, like you mentioned. Could also be a driver that potentially gets you more points over a lot of drivers, because he's going to be low owned most likely for this week. I feel players might play Byron a bit more than Bell for this week, so I'd say Bell's going to be a good pick for this week if you need a bit more spice for your lineup. For our long shot plays, I'll cover Bubba Wallace. All you really need to know about Bubba Wallace at Martinsville, he had a fantastic run here in 2020 in the first race here, where he held his own against the likes of Jimmy Johnson and got himself a top 10. Toyota's been exceptionally good on these shorter tracks with these high handling tracks, like say Watkins Glen, Martinsville. So I surmise if you really want to deep ball play something real aggressive that's going to help you make up points, I'd personally go Christopher Bell or William Byron if you want to do that. But if you're looking for a chance, maybe a big Hail Mary play, if you're say really behind in your league, then possibly you can get a big monster result from Bubba Wallace.
And if you're like us, like having a no Chevy lineup, he's going to be a great guy to put in the garage if you need him at all for any reason. Although it's the last 2 races. Another guys I really like in this tier are Chris Buescher. I mean, he's been really a top 20 car here, and I think even on these 750 tracks, he's been pretty decent. So these are some guys you can throw in your no Chevy lineup.
We're going to move over to caution plays, Andrew.
So for our caution play, we're going to have Radkazowski. I know we've been really high on Penske, but the worst Penske car out of the 3 is unfortunately the guy that will be moving over to Roush Fenway in 2022. That will be Radkazowski. He's got 7.9 stage points in the last few Martinsville races. His 750 stats, he's 12th fastest. He's on the 10th fastest on these 1 or less mile tracks. If you're comparing the tracks to like Phoenix or Richmond, Phoenix he's been really great on, top 10, but Richmond, he just hasn't found the setup to be a top 10 car. He's always been finishing from 11th to 15th there for this season, but he's coming off of momentum. I know 17th place is not the greatest momentum, but Texas, he was a top 5 car. The Roval was another situation, but Talladega, he finished well. But the key about Radkazowski and why we throw him in caution is it's just mistakes. Like with the 17th place finish last week, he got on the wall, so maybe he did overdrive it. He's only 10 points out, and really the big picture here is to just don't overdrive it, make less mistakes, and just use your car and try and stay out of trouble.
Right, the fact that it's 750, that's been Radkazowski's big bugaboo all year long, so that in itself is something you can't ignore about Radkazowski this week. He's also in a big points battle between his teammate Ryan Blaney, Kyle Busch, Martin Truex Jr. So he should be gunning for points, but then again, so are those other drivers I've mentioned. And out of those 4, I think he's going to get outpointed just because of his numbers at 750 tracks, and I think those other cars are going to be running a bit better than Keselowski.
Yeah, I agree with all your points there. He's going to be hit or miss at these 750 tracks, but New Hampshire he excelled really well. You know, he finished 3rd, so maybe he brings that car. Hopefully he does. That car is faster than the Joe Gibbs Racing cars and Ryan Blaney, so yeah, he just needs to find enough speed like Logano to overtake, Ryan Blaney, Martin Truex Jr., and Kyle Busch.
And I would hold Kyle Busch in the same regards as Keselowski. Both cars, they're better at 550, and compared to their teammates in 750 races, they're getting outpointed. So that's why we got these drivers in caution plays. Kevin Harvick could easily put him in a void, but he's shown that he can run top 10. He's not running top 20 anymore at this particular Martinsville race, mainly because he has to point his way in, but he can probably will his way to a good result. Plus he's off some good momentum from Texas and Kansas. But never mind about caution plays. I'm going to move on from that now and move over to the avoid plays. A lot of these drivers have not been very good in the last few months, and or in particular Martinsville, they've never had very great results. Like we're talking Austin Dillon, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Daniel Suarez, Eric Jones, and Michael McDowell. Neither of those drivers have had consistent top 20 finishes. All those drivers have had at least multiple finishes outside the top 25. But the more interesting driver to cover here in this group is Kyle Larson, the one playoff driver in here. The thing with Kyle Larson is you're probably already out of Kyle Larson plays, and or you're saving through that last play for Phoenix. So that in its sakes, you're already avoiding Kyle Larson. If you're like me, possibly Andrew, and you've already spent up all of your Kyle Larson plays. If somehow you're still sitting at 2 usages left with Kyle Larson, might as well throw him in, see what he gets you. I don't think he's gonna give you terrible points if you do end up playing him at Martinsville. At worst, he'll get you 30 points, which is significantly it's almost half of what he would have gotten you last week at Kansas or the week before at Texas. So if you really need an aggressive play and you're really loaded on usages at this point still in the season, then there's no problem with playing Kyle Larson. It's just the fact that if you're behind on usages, you're in that position. There's some other drivers that can also get you a lot of points as to what Kyle Larson can get you.
If you're going to use Kyle Larson here, I would definitely lower your expectations. He's not going to probably get you a 50-point day unless somehow he's actually brought some speed, which kind of doubt, but it is a possibility with him just, winning 3 races. You might as well just win the rest of the season by now. But yeah, for me, the strategy was to just use him at these 550 tracks and run out before Phoenix, because like they always keep mentioning, when you play fantasy at the final race, the final 4 guys will not get any stage points, so the maximum Larson could get is just to win the race and only get you 40. So yeah, I would just stay away from Larson this week and hopefully run out of plays with him. If not, just use him at Phoenix, because I have a I have a better feeling about him there. He had the second most fastest laps at Phoenix. To just hopefully he doesn't have another inspection issue there.
So that's our recap on the tier list. Now, Andrew, time to set our lineups for the second to last time in the 2021 NASCAR Cup Series.
Of course. So for me, for most of my lineups, I'm going with the big five of Martin Truex Jr., Denny Hamlin, Chase Elliott, Joey Logano, and Ryan Blaney. These five have really just shown that why they're really the best ones to be used at Martinsville. I mean, they were top 5 cars in the spring. Like I said, with Ryan Blaney, he finished 11th, but that was just because of a pit road penalty at the end of the race. But he swept the stages and was running in second. Could have chased down Hamlin and won the race if the race had gone green. And Logano's just been a solid guy here at Martinsville, getting you at really kind of a guaranteed top 10 if he stays out of trouble.
Right, that's going to be this exact same with my lineups. No need to turn away from the script for this one. Let's go Elliott, Hamlin, Blaney, Truex, and Logano. The garage, you kind of get a free play here. You can stick in another playoff driver to the likes of Keselowski or Kyle Busch, but I decided to go with the William Byron for Jackuwarz 1. Christopher Bell was a big consideration as well, but I think I want to go a bit more safe and say William Byron. I think getting enough Hendrick cars might be a wise choice, and or balancing it, have 2 Hendrick cars, 2 Penskes, and 2 Gibbs. My bonus picks, as much as I think that I wanted Chase Elliott to not advance past this round, I think that's not going to happen. I think Hendrick Motorsports is going to sweep the round of 8, but with Chase Elliott coming out on top in this race and returning to the Championship 4. And as for my top 4, top Toyota, I'd say Ryan Blaney tries to points his way in, joins Chase Elliott into the Championship 4, along with Denny Hamlin. I think it gets top Toyota, along with him and Kyle Larson.
Yeah, for me, I think really the hardest bonus picks for this week are top 4 and top Toyota. Maybe race winner also, but top 40 really splitting between either Ryan Blaney or Joey Logano, as they have been really good at Martinsville. Radkazowski maybe is in play, but I would focus more on Blaney and Logano. Top Toyota, it's really down to Martin Truex Jr. and Denny Hamlin. I like Truex more because, he's been the short track king, and yeah, he's really just a solid one. Or it's this more safer play to use for a top Toyota. And then why I say race winner is a bit tricky because, well, Martin Truex Jr. did win the last race here at Martinsville, so really it could be a battle between him, Chase Elliott, and Denny Hamlin, as those are some of the harder or more challenging bonus picks.
Right, indeed. A few more things I wanted to mention before we cap things off with our lineups. Pick Stenhouse. We finally ran out of plays with Ricky Stenhouse Jr. last week at Kansas, and now we can put our foot to the pedal here with Pick Stenhouse and just give it pretty much the same exact lineup as Jackuwarz 1. Okay, no Chevy, and that's something. For no Chevy, we got to get Bubba Wallace in here after I just gushed about him in long shots. So he's going to be in there. I kind of subbed out Joey Logano to do it. I think I have 1 play left with Joey. I'll be just fine with him if I play him next week at Phoenix. That's what we think about the picks, as well as the point standings. The Xfinity 500, the second to last race of the NASCAR Cup Series in the 2021 season, takes place this Halloween afternoon on 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The next race after Martinsville is our championship race at Phoenix Raceway. That takes place a week after Halloween. Enjoy the Martinsville race weekend, everybody. We'll see you next week for Phoenix.
Our last race of the season, too.
Take care, everybody. Thank you for watching.